that was all Jay wanted. He was a corpsman. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And
dedicated
very to the Marines.
Right.
I mean, so that they got him back in. They had to go to Washington or something to get approval, but they got him back in.
I think maybe something that speaks to me is to not give up on your dream.
Yeah.
He
Right.
was so committed and dedicated.
Right.
It took some work.
Yeah, and he did it. And then he went back to, before that, he had gone back to college to get his degree. At the community college, they called me the day that he died, wanted to know if they could do a memorial of him. Now, he'd been gone for 12 or 13 years, but they wanted to do a memorial of him, for him.
Well, they remembered him as a student.
Yes.
Right.
And so we went, and that's where we learned another story. They said that he started blood drives, and he did all kinds of things like that while he was going to school. And they said he became concerned that the teachers didn't get any recognition. He thought they should be getting recognition for their efforts and so forth. And so I don't remember if it was an annual thing where they acknowledged the teachers, but whatever. He put something together so that the teachers, the instructors at the college would always be recognized.
Wow.
For what they do. So obviously those instructors remembered him.
That's right.
It was, only 5 or 6 years. And so there's a memorial there at that college that recognizes all of the Iraq War. But it's Jay's face on the plaque,
Sure.
but it's
Sure.
for all of them.
Yep.
And then at the college, when he went to the university, he received an award that was only given when there was someone in the college that deserved it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he was recognized that way.
Well, Nancy, that makes me think of the story of Jay when he went to you, he approached you and said, I don't want to ignore anyone, and your story about your nursing staff.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. He just cared about people, and he was very, very thoughtful.
Yeah.
And
so after he mentioned that to you, you went back to your nursing at the school, right?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't the school, it was where I was working.
Yeah.
I was a nursing director.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was really close to my staff.
Staff, sure.
My philosophy was, and I told this to them, you take care of the patients. You do what you're supposed to do, and I'll take care of you.
Yeah.
And that was the way it was.
Yeah.
And when I left, I still hear today that my sister has started working there, and she says, oh, they tell me all the time, it was better when Nancy was here. We wish she was back.
That's right.
So she hears that. She says all the time.
And
so,
that's similar to how Jay was. He didn't ignore people.
Yep.
He said thank you to people.
Mm-hmm.
The humility.
Recognize people. And
So Nancy, I want to
good.
come back to the stone, geez, because I want to hear again where it came from. But before I ask that, what do people need to know? They're going to hike that stone, Mount Katahdin.
Mm-hmm.
This spring, we're going to put that in a backpack. Someone is really going to want to carry Jay's memory and that stone. When that stone gets heavy, what do they need to be thinking about Jay?
They need to be thinking that he did everything for others that he could possibly do. Everyone else came first.
Yeah.
That's the big thing.
Yeah. He put other
Others
people
first.
always.
Yeah.
Can you tell that story again about the coming off the base when he would help out the Marines, and they would come off the base and he'd try to give them?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. What it was it was the Marine Corps Ball.
Yep.
And
Oh.
it was before he died, and he didn't drink. Jay didn't drink.
At all.
No.
Yep.
And I guess they have one ritual in the Marines when they get, when he got his lieutenant, I guess, he had them, they host a party or something.
Sure.
You'd know more about
Yes,
that.
I do. Yep.
And he had them do the, where is it, they shoot the colors at each other, and
Yeah.
it was a playful kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
He did that instead of going to a bar
Got it.
for people to get drunk. And then, but this was the Marine Corps ball, and he and his wife went home fairly early.
Sure.
And
Sure.
so he, apparently, I learned this afterwards, I went to the base. Where do you go on
Yeah.
the base to check out a vehicle?
That's right.
And I met the man that was working that night, and I asked him, we were in the car with him, and he was driving us around at Arizona, and I said, did you know Jay? And he said, ma'am, I was the officer on duty that night when he came to ask if he could check it out. And he said he asked if he could check one out. Now, he was his superior officer.
Right. Right.
And so he did. He checked out one of the big vans,
Yeah.
and went and sat outside the dance, so that if some of them were too drunk to drive, and again, protecting them.
Like you said,
Yep.
other people's needs
Right, exactly.
before his own.
Right. And that's what he did. There was a,
I love that story, Nancy.
yeah, I do too.
I love that story.
Yeah. But that's how he cared for his buddies too. But he was a risk taker.
Yeah.
You know, he was dedicated, worked hard at what he wanted to do. And I'm sorry, I'm probably boring you.
You're
to
not
death.
boring me at all. I actually want to hear about that stone one more time.
Yeah.
Why you chose that one and where it came from.
Yeah. It's strong, for one thing. It's a nice memory of Maine that he loved, and that I love too. And
Can you
it was
talk
rugged.
Yeah.
He was rugged, or he was strong. Let's put it that way. He was never rugged, but he was strong.
That's right.
And
Are you
it's
comfortable talking about Rita and what?
very,
Yeah.
yeah. Rita was my best friend. We started right in kindergarten, and to this day, 65 years later, we are in touch with each other, and we meet monthly to support each other. She had 5 children, and I had 3.
Right.
And we just, sharing our growing old together,
Right.
whatever, but we were always right there for each other.
Right.
And, typical of that morning, after I had called her at 5 a.m.,
Yeah.
she knew where to find me.
And where did she find you?
In church.
Yeah.
At
At daily
At
mass.
daily mass,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, there were 5 or 6 of us there. It was interesting, the priest came to see me before the mass and said, Nancy, can I announce that this morning?
Wow.
And I said, no, the Marines haven't come.
Oh, we gotta wait.
I wanted to, there was that last bit of hope that maybe they weren't gonna come, or maybe, that's how I was feeling at
I gotta
that
know for
time.
sure.
I gotta know for sure.
I understand.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so it's just Rita. She was always there, and we had been for each other.
To this day, she's one of your dearest.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
65 years.
Yeah, and she went out in the garden in the snow.
Recently.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 2-3 weeks ago.
So here we are in Winslow. She's down in Benton,
Yeah.
next town, right? Just a couple towns.
Right.
And you've known her for decades.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes to the garden in Benton, and she said, and that's why it's special to you.
Yes, absolutely.
Tremendous
Yep.
meaning.
Right.
That's right.
And I mean, and it represents Jay.
It does.
When I saw it, I thought, That's it,
That's good.
you know.
That's the one.
But she, like I said, she weighed it for me. She said, Nancy, it's 8 pounds. I said, well, I want it because if they can't use it, I'll put it in my garden.
Yeah.
That was what I was going to do.
Are you okay with me taking it?
Absolutely.
Good.
Yes. It's perfect.
Good. I think it's
So-
perfect too.
Yeah.
What it represents too is the strength, because it's a big
Mm-hmm.
sturdy stone from the earth, but the relationship between you and Rita,
Yeah.
right? She's
Yeah.
been there for you.
Yeah.
And
And it's the relationship between my son and
that's
I,
correct.
too.
Well, that's what I was saying before. I think is it symbolizes how you allowed Rita to participate, just like Jay put other people's needs in front of his own.
Yeah.
You are seeing this as a way to bolster the relationship between you and Rita.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
she was
Yeah.
there for you.
Yeah, she sure was.
Yeah.
She is to this day.
Yeah.
And
Can you tell me one more story about the vision test?
yes. Well, he called me and he had been going through his physical and he said, Mom, I'm not passing my eye test. And he
Very important for a pilot.
Yeah, well, especially before.
Mhm.
Apparently, if he didn't pass it before, he couldn't be a pilot.
Like a
but
screen,
afterwards, and he was in glasses shortly afterwards.
Yeah.
But he said, you know, will you get everybody around there to pray for me? And so I spoke to the sisters, and I went down to the chapel or whatever, and we did pray for him. And I got a call later that afternoon, and he said, guess what, Mom? I said, what, Jay? A prayer jumped right in my eye. He said, that's what had to happen, because he said, I saw perfectly,
That's great.
you know. And
That's great.
so whether he relaxed or whether it was a mini miracle, doesn't matter to us.
No, no.
But that was how it brought, like I said, it brought him back to his faith.
Yeah.
And one of those colonels in there that wrote to me from Iraq said, you know, Jay was very faithful about going to Mass, and he said, I never had. I hadn't for years and years and years. And he said, I looked at him one day and I thought, as busy as he is, if he can do it, so can I. And he started going to the Masses when they offered them.
That's terrific.
You know, so he was a role model
Yeah.
without trying.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was himself.
Yeah.
But who himself was, of course, exceptional as far as I'm concerned.
I think that's what we hope to do, Nancy. Someone who's going to touch that stone and carry the memory.
Mm-hmm.
You carry the stone for the hike, but you carry the story
Right,
forever.
right,
And they need to know about Jay's humility, his service,
right.
his humble nature, right? How he gave so much.
Right. And he had a great love of people. He loved sports.
Yeah.
He was good at sports.
Oh yeah.
Um,
What was his favorite?
I think baseball.
Yeah.
He did play.
But at the same time, you told me, Nancy, he always was smiling.
Yes.
Jay was always
Yeah,
smiling.
you never knew.
He never ignored people.
No.
Right?
No, never. And he succeeded at any work he did because he was a hard worker. I called Jay once when he was in Portland, and I said to him, he said he was going to go to college and he was going to work. And I said, Jay, how are you going to do that? I said, you're working, you got a new baby. What are you doing? And he just very quietly said, Mom, you did it.
Wow.
Talk about bowling me over. Because that's what I did do. I went